I am Nicole from Become a Dietitian, and today I'm coming to you live to do an interview with my friend. So I'm going to try to connect her now. Hello,
Hey,
Julianna.
Nicole.
How are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
good.
Good.
So sorry about that.
Oh my gosh, no, that's okay. It was like hidden or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I kept trying to search you, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. So
Oh my gosh, no, that's totally okay. How was your day?
it was good. So,
Good.
yeah. Thanks so much for coming on.
You're so welcome. So happy to be here. So let's get to it.
Yeah. So I am friends with Juliana from college, and that's where our connection is. And I just wanted to bring her on to talk to everyone to share a little bit about her journey with becoming a dietitian and where she is now. So
Yeah.
thank you again for coming on. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and maybe share
Yeah.
a little bit about why you wanted to become a dietitian?
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. So, I decided to become a dietitian because I firsthand saw basically what the power of food does on the body within my own self and for my own health reasons. And I just thought how interesting it was when I first discovered basically that food is more than food, right? So, there's so much power in the macronutrients and the micronutrients. And once I learned further in my schooling exactly what that did on the body, I was like, I have to immediately help people reach their nutrition goals with the power of food. And why I further wanted to become a dietitian is because I completely and have personally experienced the negative effects of diet culture, including all the social pressure and mental exhaustion that comes with it, right? So I was like, let me create my own private practice for people that were in my shoes and basically teach them how to combat that because food shouldn't be the enemy. It's just how we're thinking of it and the certain foods that we're having. And that's where I am today. And it just like fuels my passion even more every single day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, did was this your first career becoming a dietitian?
So, funny story, I actually wanted to be an art teacher, but I quickly switched out of it. No shade at all. I just was like, I'm sure like many dietitians say this, but I really just love food, but more importantly, like I love what it does. So I was like, let me make this a career out of it. So to become a dietitian, I did a combined MSDI program through Marywood University. And for those that don't know, an MSDI, what you do is it's a combined master's program with an internship program combined with it. And it was nice because it was a distance program, so it gave me freedom to do what I wanted with my rotations and any other like preceptors I wanted. So I didn't have to drive super far to go to my rotations, even if it was distant. So I was super lucky with that. I had the best experience and it went so quickly. It was the most quick 2 years ever. And now I have friends all across the state that are dietitians that I talk to. So it's definitely like a really nice community for that, especially.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Did you like, I know I've heard a few people that I've talked to recently within a distance program have a little bit of challenges setting up their rotations. How, like, do you feel like that went really smoothly with you? You didn't really have a ton of problems with
It
that?
didn't. I had a ton of problems.
Okay.
It was very stressful. I unfortunately had to source out all my rotations myself, and it was a lot of calling, a lot of emailing. Some would say pestering, but I think it's being persistent, and that's really important in this field. And it took me a while to get a lot of these rotations because it was just constant communication back and forth that took a while. But I will say, like, once I got my rotations that I wanted, it was in my benefit because, like, I really pushed to get those, rotations that were close to home. And granted, like, my longest commute was probably like 25 minutes from my house. And I'm really fortunate for that. And it was nice because all my preceptors were nice. Sometimes you hear horror stories, but I had really good support. Um, so that it was the best thing I ever did.
That's great. Do you
Yeah.
did you have a certain focus within your internship?
Um, I did not have a specific focus because it was kind of created like on my own. If I had a specific focus, I wish it was eating disorders, but the most I saw for that was, I would say, in a clinical setting, like maybe like one or two people, like once a week. So it wasn't like a strict rotation that I wanted, but that was okay because now I do that in my practice and I love it. And I feel like all the rotations prepared me adequately for that. And now I'm actually certified. Um, in intuitive eating. So it even complements it even more.
Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit about what that looks like, getting certified in
Yeah,
intuitive?
yeah. So there's a woman named Evelyn Trobe, and she created intuitive eating, and she's from California. So over the course of this year, I signed up for her classes. And before I did that, I had to take a huge exam that was proctored for intuitive eating. And I passed that. And then I went into different courses just to take it like one-on-ones with her. And then I got certified. And now I could like use the principles of intuitive eating with my clients. And it makes food less scary and it makes you take the stress away from food, which is why I feel like more people should know that because food is food, but food is also more than food. It's all our mental up here as well.
Yeah. So, do you want to share a little bit about what you do within your practice and like what your focus is?
Yeah, yeah. So before I started this practice, I worked at a hospital for about a half year. It was right after I got out of my internship and passed my exam. So, as most dietitians, I was eager to jump right into the hospital. Um, but it was quickly short-lived. I decided that I wanted to dive into like deeper relationships with my clients to really see their nutrition and health soar in the future instead of just seeing them in a hospital setting when they go home in like 1 to 2 days. And then unfortunately, you don't hear from them again follow up with them. So I decided to open up my own practice called Intuitively Nourished, and I've been seeing and helping so many amazing clients. And I like to joke with myself and say that I have the best boss. Um, I love what I do truly, and I always just feel so blessed because like every day I get to develop such a strong rapport with my clients to see them become healthier and happier, just to achieve their goals and not see food as a fiend, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you did you learn all these skills for building rapport like in your internship? Like, was there anything that you did to help you with those skills?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of motivational interviewing that I learned to do, or known as MI. And, you know, when you're not a dietitian and you're learning, it's scary. For a lot, it's scary to talk to people, I feel. Like when you have classes in college and you're doing some kind of counseling class, it's more like you're writing about it. You're not actively counseling. You maybe get to counsel like one patient, but besides that, it's like you don't get that experience. So definitely got a lot of that in my internship because I was by myself. Besides my preceptor, I was on the floor seeing patients. So, I was, I'm very lucky that I was able to do that. It wasn't like during COVID where I heard that like a lot of like interns had to do things virtually. So my internship was like right after that. So I was very happy that I was in person because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the best only way to learn.
Yeah, especially to gain the skills practicing, like working with people and actually communicating with them because it's different if you're doing it virtually versus in person, which,
Oh,
oh,
absolutely.
are you doing it like working with clients just one-on-one in your counseling practice, like in person or remotely right now? Or
It's
both?
remotely, so
Okay.
I'm ironically not seeing the demand for in person now. I feel like since COVID, there's been a shift. If I see a demand for in person, maybe I would consider that. But my clients are loving online because it's quick, it's easy. They could see me in their pajamas if they wanted to. But it's nice. They're from the comfort of their own home, like just like a therapy session, which most therapy sessions are online now too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was a easy transition moving in from your internship into doing this kind of work?
Into doing the hospital, yes, because I came from a hospital. That was my last rotation. So I was like, okay, this is like super simple.
Hmm.
Doing my own practice and starting it from the bottom up, there's a lot of legwork that goes into it. And luckily, like we learned like just like a snippet in our master's class for like a professional development, like if we wanted to do a practice, what do we do? But there's a lot of paperwork and there's a lot of legal things to take care of. But once that was done, it just went up, and I'm so happy with that.
Do you want to share a little bit about
Yeah.
any of that process? Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to apply for an LLC, and you do that through the state government website. So this was like nj.gov, right? And then you have to make sure you have an MPI and a tax ID number, and that's just more paperwork. And then you decide if you want to go through insurance or self-pay. And with that, if you decide to do insurance, you have to fill out all this different paperwork. And the fun, that's like the legal part of it. But the fun part, you get to create your website, you get to create an email chain if you want, like anything, like, if you do stuff on Canva, right, to make like cute flyers and stuff like that. So there's a lot of fun that you could have with it. And like I said, like when you're your own boss, like you could do whatever you want. And I'm glad that I took that leap to do that. So it's great.
Yeah, that's really good to hear because if
Yeah.
you did all that work and then you didn't enjoy it, that's really tough. So,
Right. And I feel like you have to love what you do because then you don't feel like you're working, as the saying goes. And I think that's true. So
yeah, for sure.
so every day is different and fun.
Mm. Do you like, is there a way that you are like, how do you get your clients kind of like,
Yeah. So I am a network with insurance. So I basically am on their insurance directory. And with that, they can give me a call. And that by word of mouth, I do different business workshops where like I'll go to like a Pilates studio or a yoga studio and just, have a little table there and try to connect with the community that way. But it's growing. So I'm so happy with that. Lot,
that's
lot of
awesome.
network. And I feel like networking is something they don't really talk about in school that much either. There's a lot of things that you could do with that. And it's super important to network. It's LinkedIn in real life
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
I feel like you don't really realize how important it is until you're actually like doing it and you see the benefits of doing it.
Yeah. And I feel like first impressions are so important. Like you could be in the supermarket and overhear someone saying, "Oh, I can't eat this." And you're like, okay, should I slide my business card or not? And it's like always like first impressions are so important, especially when you have your own practice. But it's good to know, like, your ears are working. So if you hear something, you could say something like, "Hey, I'm a dietitian." And a lot of people appreciate that when you're upfront with that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Have you actually done that when you're in the grocery store?
No, not in the grocery store. It was actually I go to boxing at Rumble, and it's like a boxing studio, so it's a lot of fun. And I've been going there for a while, and a lot of the women there at my studio were like, very involved with like fitness and health. So like I was like, and it's a small group, so we chat a lot. So I'm like, I'm a dietitian, and actually got some clients that way that are doing great now. So it's just nice to like be yourself and say what you're doing. And a lot of people appreciate that too, because it's like another connection, like, oh, I know this girl, she's a dietitian,
Yeah,
that kind
that's
of
awesome.
stuff. Hmm.
So, is there like a specific type of thing that you like work with, like you focus like your clients um within the sessions, I guess?
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like with diet culture, a lot of people that I see, they have an unhealthy relationship with food, or they see food as a demon, literally. And I just feel like for decades, we've been exposed to alternatives for all the foods that we love, emphasizing like low fat, low sugar, low calorie foods. And it's simply been so instilled in us as a society that one body should look the same size, and we need to eat the same foods and do the exact same thing and just commit to the next hot fad diet. And I feel like that's the craze. Like everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people want that instant weight loss, but it's like you want to follow a diet but you don't know how to eat, essentially. So with my clients, there's no dieting. I don't let my clients feel restricted, but it's just how we make healthy tweaks to make it feel like you're not a diet, like it's a lifestyle, like it's just your regular way of eating. So we kind of like toss out the stress into the garbage can, and you just see food as food, and you eat more of what makes you feel good and less of what doesn't make you feel good, and you have that healthy balance with food, so that it prevents restriction and binge eating and just like unhealthy thoughts about it. So I definitely run a weight inclusive practice where weight loss should kind of be on the back burner until you figure out why you're feeling this way about food, and then you will eventually reach a comfortable weight and so many other things, manage PCOS, manage cholesterol, manage diabetes. But if you are following a diet on a piece of paper, you're just following something. You're not understanding exactly why you're doing this. So it's more like you take away like the instructions and we kind of talk about, okay, why are you eating this? How do you feel about eating this? Are you present while you're eating? There's so much more than just putting something like a salad in your mouth. Like there's much more. And food should be pleasurable and joyful, and it should not feel stressful in any way. So I try to do that with my clients.
I love that. I definitely feel
Thanks.
like I also am just like, obviously, like weight has a factor in your health, but focusing on the foods that you eat and like the whole food and like making small changes versus like planning a diet and following strict things is not going to help you in the long run, because maybe you follow a diet for the short term, but in the long term, like you may not be able to stick to that, and then you may
Yeah.
binge, have bad days, and then like just fall off. And it's easier just to make
Yeah.
simple lifestyle changes.
It is. And I always say to my clients, if diets worked, there wouldn't be more diets. And I feel like just every year we see more diets come out. Like I had a question the other day from one of my clients. They're like, one of my friends is doing a water diet. And I was like, okay, there's so many different things that people try to lose weight. And I just really implore, like, if you get to the root cause of maybe why you feel like you want to lose weight, or for a medical reason you need to lose weight, it's much more than the weight. It's our feelings about it, and that is what helps you reach a comfortable, stable weight where your weight isn't going up and down and ruining your cortisol levels and insulin and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
It's stressful.
Yeah. And it's important also just to like pay attention to how you feel and how what you're eating is affecting how you feel, and
Absolutely.
making simple changes or like small changes to help you feel even better with
Yeah.
in your body. So Juliana, can I ask you a few other questions?
Yes.
So, what do you wish you knew before you became a dietitian?
That's a good question. Um, Before becoming a dietitian, I wish they really expressed how much freedom that you have to be a dietitian, because you can do what you want basically and roll with it. And I think that dietitians have so much freedom, and I see dietitians doing all kinds of different things, and I think that's really cool. I used to think that the only jobs were working in a hospital or a clinic, and that was like the go-to. That's what I wanted when I was an intern. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to work in a hospital, and I did it. But I think I got burnt out too quickly because I had been working in a hospital as a diet tech um, for a couple years before I had a job after that, in a clinical setting. So it was definitely, I was like, you know what? I want to do something else, basically. But I'm seeing like left and right dietitians doing all these special things in the fields. And I just feel like all these dietitians are creating such special niche for themselves. And especially like for myself, like mine is like a non-diet culture approach. Like that's my niche. But I'm seeing like other dietitians like doing sports nutrition with a weight neutral approach, or women's health, right? But with like a specific niche within women's health. And I just think that's great. And it's the best. You whatever you dream to do, you could do it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I feel
Yeah,
it's the world is your oyster. That's the
it
saying.
is.
You can do
It
whatever
is.
you want. It's just a matter of finding the right people to connect you to, like, going the right direction that you want to go, or like finding really what you're passionate about and getting the experience in that.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
do you have a favorite part of being a dietitian?
That's a easy one. So my favorite part of being an RD is definitely my clients. I feel like just working with them and seeing them flourish, you couldn't ask for a more rewarding thing. I always say to my clients that I'm just as human as you are, which means I've most likely experienced to some degree something you're going through with your nutrition in some way. And I just feel like, as a provider, you have to be so down to earth to your clients. And I feel like it makes you have a better connection and then they have better care because that's the end goal. You want to provide the most exceptional care, but also help them feel like they're so comfortable. And that's really just how the care increases. So, my favorite part of being a dietitian is my clients and just being the best human I could be and getting that back from my clients too, because I feel like it creates a really interesting, comfortable atmosphere that makes everything just so much stronger.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Do you have anything fun that you want to share about what you do now and like where people can find you?
Yeah. So as I said, like being your own boss is the best, but it means that you could switch it up and do something different to make, for this case, my practice like better or more exciting, or just to do something different for my clients. So I recently created a program called Diet Culture Dropout, and that basically helps clients, who have experienced like the negative effects of diet culture. They learn how to dive into the root cause of their relationship with food, basically like a spider web, like unveiling like that web of lies, right? And they learn how to understand the foundations of evidence-based nutrition science and just learn how to become the healthiest, happiest, most successful version of yourself. And I created that because there's so much misinformation from unproclaimed influencers online, and it's so frustrating because I have clients that come to me all the time. They're like, what is that one guy? We don't even want to give him the credit, so I'm not going to say his name, but the guy that always like posts like, this is toxic, you should never ever have this, you're gonna get cancer, like those types of influencers. So that scares my clients and I'm sick of it, so I was like, let me kind of create something that separates fact from fiction and how to like put on your detective hat and just like decipher like the real information from the fake and not get caught up in that. So that's like a 6-week program that I have, and some of the clients that I have doing it, they're doing great, and it's nice because we have like weekly check-ins. They have a lot of material that they could take home from it with workshops, and at the end, they get to decide, um, basically, if they would like to sign a divorce contract to diet culture. So they're breaking up with diet culture, they're leaving it at the curb, and then they get like a really nice divorce certificate, one that they could hang up on the wall. So I love that. So that was something fun that I did. Do you have any questions about that or no?
No, it's
Okay.
very interesting.
Yeah.
I specifically for your clients that you like come to you to work with you.
Yeah. Anyone could do it over 14 years old. It's teen friendly as well. But it's through insurance, so that's even better. So most of the sessions are covered. I want to try to make it as accessible as I can for my clients. Um, but it's great. So I love that I'm doing that. And then, so my website is called intuitivelynourishedrdn.com. So people can find me from there, or they can check me out at my Instagram at the Dietitian Against Dieting. But I'm very accessible and I love to chat and bust a myth from fiction about diet culture. And it's really fun because there's something new every day that I'm seeing. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Julianna, for
You're
coming on.
so welcome. Thank you for having me. Let's do this again.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a
Bye.
good Bye.
You too.